Talk Live. My name is Callie Frank. Alongside my co-host here today is Travis Udell and Sam Labreezy. Today we're going to be going through an assortment of sports topics from the NFL to the NBA. But first, we're going to highlight the MLB last week. Game 7, the San Francisco Giants took the ship. How do we feel about that, guys?
Well, I'm sad to see that the Giants won. I was really rooting for the Royals. They haven't been in there for so long, and it would have been nice to see them win it, but it's okay that the Giants did. But I'm still just salty about the Brewers' collapse. I mean, that's what makes me mad. It's sad to see the Giants, I guess.
Yeah. It was a really good series for baseball. You know, got all the way to Game 7. It was the Royals, who was that small-town team, haven't seen playoff action in quite some time, so I think they were the underdog that everybody was rooting for. And then there was the San Francisco Giants, who this is their third time in 5 years that they've been there. So they've been there before. It's nothing special to them. You know, I was also rooting for Kansas City as well, but there was just the pitching for the Giants was unbelievable when Bumgarner got out there. Ridiculous.
That's what I was going to highlight, that Bumgarner pretty much just took the game over. And that Game 7, when he came out of the bullpen, the whole attitude changed in that stadium right away. Because it was the first person at bat got on base. That was the first hit, and they got the second hit later on in the ninth. And the game was almost over by then. But as you can see by our stat that we had there, 40.43 ERA.
It's unbelievable.
17 strikeouts in 1 walk, 1 complete game. That's an unbelievable, probably one of the best World Series runs we've ever seen by a pitcher ever.
He's only 25 too, and this is his 3rd ring on his finger. I think that's an achievement in itself.
Definitely.
So moving on, heading over to the NFL now this past week. A great rivalry in football. Peyton Manning versus Tom Brady face off. How do we feel about that matchup? What do you guys think of the outcome of the game?
I was pleased with the outcome of the game. I did want Brady to win. I don't mind Manning. Sometimes I don't really care for him because I feel like sometimes he just runs up his stats. That's just me. This was their 16th meeting between both Brady and Manning. Brady is actually 11-5.
Yep.
So owning Peyton right now.
Yes.
Peyton had a great game. 333 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. But it's not like Peyton didn't have a bad game either.
I think when people look at this rivalry, it's like, who is the better quarterback? And, you know, Peyton's got some years on him. I think Peyton is more consistent. If you look at the Patriots, you know, Brady has probably been more successful in terms of Super Bowls and things like that. That's always held over his head. But you think if you look at earlier this season, everybody thought the Patriots were just down and out after that Kansas City loss. And then after that, he's back. Brady, just like that, turns it on, and they're back in winning games.
Yeah, this just was an elite matchup of quarterbacks. Manning is 2nd all-time in wins with 173, and Brady is 3rd all-time with 154, and then my man Brett Favre is in 1st with 186. Had to bring him in here, but these two are just elite quarterbacks, and I would have to disagree with you when you say that Brady is, you said Brady, right?
No,
You're Manning?
I'm a Manning.
I think I'm more Brady because it seems to me that Peyton Manning can't win the big games besides the AFC championships. He's got all these AFC championships, but he just has 1 Super Bowl. Brady's got all these Super Bowls. So that in my opinion,
so if you're starting a quarterback between the two of them, beginning of the season, Brady, going with Manning. But hey, we'll differ on some things around here. We're going to keep going around our sports table here. We're going to head into the NBA season just starting. I think we're roughly about 3 games underway, if I'm not correct. So what are your predictions for this season? We got some key players out. We got some key players coming back in. What do you guys think is going to happen this year?
It's going to be the craziest thing that's going to happen in the league this year is going to be what's going to happen in the Eastern Conference. Western Conference can be kind of settled already. You have your top usual teams of the Thunder, Spurs, Warriors, Clippers, Trailblazers. Those are my top teams I'm seeing in the West right now. But if you're looking in the East, everybody's going to say the Cavs, but the thing is that you don't know exactly how great they're going to be already this year.
Exactly.
They have really good talent and a decent team, but you don't know. You have to have them mesh. It took the Heat a while to get together. And the Bulls, you don't know how Derrick Rose is going to do, even though they added Powell, Gasol, and some other pieces. But I think that the East is going to be a little crazy because you have the Hornets that are coming up, along with the Wizards and the Raptors. The Raptors are actually really good in the playoffs last year. You got to watch out for that team, I think.
Yeah.
it's just going to be a toss-up in the East.
I really think it's going to be interesting having Derrick Rose back.
Yes,
definitely,
he is a marquee player, and he just had some injuries that he had to deal with.
Yeah.
So to see if he's able to bounce back from those injuries is one thing, and if he is, he's going to be an automatic impact for that team and that division itself. Something that I'm interested in seeing, like you said, LeBron in Cleveland, but also how Miami's going to turn out now. You know, for the past years, it's all been nothing but the big three, LeBron, and he was that team. Chris Bosh down in Miami right now is finding his way. It's finally his team, and, you know, they're 3-0 to start out the gate, and they look pretty good.
Yeah. He actually is having a great start. He's like 28-5 he's averaging so far. Granted, it's only maybe 5 games, less than 5 games in the season, but he's doing really good so far.
So, yeah. Moving on now, we're going to head over to the racetrack, something we don't really talk about here a lot on Sports Talk Live. Not very knowledgeable on the racetrack, but this past weekend at Texas Motor Speedway, a big old brawl, as you can see here, between Jeff Gordon and Keselowski going at it, not happy at all. Look at this. This is the most excitement you've seen on a racetrack.
It was a big, huge mess.
Yes, and the funny thing I love about this is actually one of the pit guys made the first shove towards him.
It was like I think it was Kevin Harvick I read from like a different team completely. He just comes in here and pushes Keselowski into it all, and then it just goes from there.
You know, this is funny because we never talk about racing, and then this is as exciting as it gets. And I laugh because, you know, I think Keselowski hit him and blew one of his tires out, and he was pissed after that. The funny thing about it is neither of these guys even won the race.
Yeah.
It was Jimmy Johnson, so...
They're just trying to fight for that position and the points.
I don't understand this NASCAR. It's just... I just think it's funny when they fight. That's the only action that ever comes out of NASCAR, in my opinion, and it's funny to see them go at it like that. That was a big brawl, and...
Yeah. It should be noted
should happen more often.
That was Keselowski's second altercation after a race this year already.
Yeah,
they're pretty banged up a little bit there. You got a little cuts all over the face. I'm pretty sure
he's becoming the bad boy of NASCAR now. And I laughed in the post-game interview. They were so intense, and it's like they had like a little cut on their lip, and they're like, blood, sweat, and tears for this sport. And I'm like, you're barely bleeding.
I don't think anybody really connected with the punch. It was just everybody just like grabbing and pushing each other, trying to like break it up but not break it up at the same time.
I think Jeff Gordon's also just past his prime. Like
that's what I was reading too. A lot of people were saying that he was just kind of being like a big.
He's just not what he once was. But that's NASCAR for you. They needed a little publicity to get going here. So yeah, you know. But anyways, we're gonna take a quick break, and we're gonna take a look at those adorable perfect pets at the Cooley Region Humane Society.
This is Mona, a 3-year-old American Staffordshire Terrier. This little doggy is affectionate, sweet, and of course, well-mannered. Oh, and she knows how to sit. Mona does very well at keeping her kennel clean here at the shelter. She would do well at any home, as long as she has a consistent routine. Just look at those stunning brown eyes. Mona needs a home. To find out more about adoption for these pets or others, contact the Cooley Region Humane Society at 781-4014.
Welcome back into Sports Talk Live. Here to throw a little more sports action at you. We're going to stick on this segment to the NFL now, as we are about halfway through the season. So I want to start off with you guys. Who is your biggest surprise, team or player, in the NFL thus far?
I'll let you take this one. Start out, Sam.
I feel that it is Ben Roethlisberger right now, actually, for me. It's kind of a random pick, but team's 6-3 right now, and he's been playing fantastic football. He's had 4 games over 300 yards this season. The Indianapolis game that he had 2 weeks ago, he had 522 yards, 6 touchdowns, and yesterday he had a great game as well, too. He's been playing phenomenal. 22 touchdowns, 3 interceptions total this year. Already at 2,720 yards. Without him, the team wouldn't be as good as they are where they're at right now, I feel like. So Ben Roethlisberger is my biggest surprise of the year, because I didn't know exactly how the Steelers would do in this season so far. Just because some people think that Ben might be coming down. You know, he's getting a little older, but he's still playing at high-quality games right now, I'd
I
say.
think he's had, what, 12 touchdowns in the last 2 games?
Yeah, he's been
something
playing
crazy
outrageous
like
football
that.
right now.
So, that's really turned it around for them. Well, my biggest is a player here. Kind of going off track with the old people again is Steve Smith, the wide receiver for the Ravens. I'm picking him because he's an old man. He's over 35 years old, but he's on pace for 100 receptions and a career high of 1,700 receiving yards this season. He's been a big impact. I'm just giving him some love because he's old and he's out there on the field, taking those open hits, cutting across the field.
Yeah, that is nice to see an old guy. I remember him back in the day, and
back in his prime.
he was good back then, and
he's not
he
giving
still
up
is
yet.
now. It's nice to see. My surprise is kind of a disappointment. I'm surprised at how bad the Giants are doing. They're 3-5. I don't know why, but that just super surprised me. The Giants are usually in there, and I kind of think Eli Manning is a good quarterback, but he's just not being able to get it done.
Yeah.
Okay, you kind of led us right into our next part here. So now we're going to look at the biggest disappointment of the start of the 2014 season here.
Mine would have to be Zach Stacy. Not only is he that because he's on my fantasy football team, which now I'm going to drop him, but he only has total on the season right now 257 yards and 1 touchdown. He's not the starter anymore. That's Trey Mason. He took over. Basically, actually, the Rams are kind of running back up by committee team right now with Benny Cunningham, Zach Stacy kind of fading out, and then Trey Mason getting a lot of the work right now. It's been so frustrating with him because he was supposed to have actually a really good year this year, and coming out of the last season, hot. So you think he would come into this season the same performance.
Yeah, for sure. Looking at my biggest disappointment, I'm going to go for a team here is the Atlanta Falcons. They're off to a 2-6 start, and they're usually a contender when it comes to their division. A lot of people looking at Mike Smith as the reasoning, but if you look at his past 5 years with the Falcons, he's won 2 divisional titles, and he has advanced to the playoffs for 4 times. Falcons never really do well in the playoffs, but they're usually someone that is kind of in there to stir the pot a little bit. They're my biggest disappointment to the start of the season.
My biggest disappointment is the New York Jets. Wow, 1-8. That's killer. That's a killer start, and
The Jets.
I don't understand. I mean, it's sad to see Rex Ryan. He's going to be gone, but I like him. He's a cool character. I'm just disappointed that they're 1-8, I guess.
That's right. You can look at some other things, some other disappointments. I'm trying to think here. The Bears.
Yeah.
Jay Cutler. A lot of people disappointed in
disappointing.
him.
Yep.
That's a standard issue.
The
Chargers losing to the Dolphins 37-0. Granted, the Dolphins have been playing well, but
they're kind of a surprise in
they're a
my
surprise,
eyes as well. So moving on, halfway through, who do you guys feel is in competition right now for the MVP title so far this season?
I'm going to say Aaron Rodgers is definitely in there. He's having a remarkable season so far.
The hometown guy.
Yeah, I know. I hate to do it just because, but he's having a great year. J.J. Watt also. That would be cool to see a defensive player get it. I mean,
yeah, I agree.
That would be awesome, but I mean, there's Defensive Player of the Year for a reason, so he's obviously going to get that. I mean, but he has offensive touchdowns as well. What can he do?
Both sides.
Exactly.
My MVP, I have it Andrew Luck right now, with also Ben Roethlisberger, who I mentioned before, actually could actually come in there, I think, later on, depending on how the season goes. But right now, Colts are 6-3. Andrew Luck is playing phenomenal football as well. Over 3,000 passing yards, 26 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, a 73 QBR rating. He has 8 games over 300 passing yards. He's doing everything for this team. Without him, they probably wouldn't be where they're at right now.
I'm going to go off what Travis is saying here. I'm going to have to agree with him on the whole J.J. Watt thing. I know it's really unheard of for a defensive player to win MVP, but the guy is just unbelievable. He's the best player in the NFL right now by far. His skill set is ridiculous. He's just able to disrupt everything on the offensive side of the ball. And I don't like when people say, well, look at the Texans as a whole. MVP is a personal award. It's for a player itself. So that argument, I think, should be tossed out easily. Like you said, he's doing it defensive side of the ball. He's got a touch on the offensive side of the ball. He's forcing fumbles. He's recovering fumbles. He's just all around, I think, a great player. And I don't think he should be overlooked just because he's a defensive player.
Exactly.
Also,
go ahead. No,
another person we can throw in, DeMarco Murray. He's having a great season so far. So
I agree. And it shouldn't depend on how the team's doing. I mean, that's what everybody focuses on, but overall performance.
I think that's why JJ's getting a little slighted a little bit. So we're halfway through the season. We've got some of our favorites here. We've got some people that have let us down. So the big the big point of NFL is the Super Bowl. Who do you guys think, your predictions now halfway through, who's going to make it to the ship?
From the AFC, after what's been going on lately, I have the Patriots right now. They've been playing outstanding football. That defense is playing really good too now, let alone Tom Brady playing out of his mind lately as well. From the NFC, I'm going to go hometown. I'm going to say Packers right now, just because they are playing really good football. The only thing is with them is that the defense depends on how they do. That defense that's what's going to take them either way.
I'm going to disagree with you on both of those. I think that Peyton Manning is going to go ahead and he's going to knock out Tom Brady, even though. But I have the Broncos from the AFC, and the NFC, I have the Cardinals, just because they're good. They're playing very well.
Surprise of the league as well.
Yeah, they're a surprising team, and they've been playing well, and I think they're going to continue it throughout the season and make it in the Super Bowl. I'm
going to fully agree with you on the Cardinals pick, and I'm going to go off this whole Ben Roethlisberger thing.
Okay.
I'm going to take the Pittsburgh. It's a little far-fetched, but now that this guy's turned it on, look at what the team's been able to do. He's always been their key. When Ben Roethlisberger's hot, Pittsburgh can do great things, and I think if he continues what he's doing right now, I think they have a really good chance of pushing themselves deep into the playoffs. So.
Yeah.
But
it's really up in the air, actually, because
It is.
all those are great.
Yeah. You never know. You never know what's going to happen when it comes to playoffs.
Yeah. You never know. The 49ers could actually make a push at the end.
Yeah,
too.
Seattle.
That
We're forgetting about Seattle too. I mean, they're not doing so well right now, but when it comes to playoffs, Russell
Same
Wilson
with San
kicks it
Fran.
in.
They're in shambles, but they've always been past 2 years. They've been a contender as well. So
all depends on who heats up here at the end of the year. I think so too.
Alrighty. So stay tuned. Right now, we're going to go take a break and look at our beautiful campus of UWL.
At the University of Wisconsin-La Crosse, surround yourself with potential. Surround yourself with lifelong friends. Step on campus and be welcomed with a friendly smile. It's just like home. Surround yourself with nature's beauty. Nestled in western Wisconsin's driftless area, it's perfect for learning. Hike the bluffs, bike the marsh, soar. Surround yourself with challenging academics. Our motto is Men's Corpus Gang, Latin for mind and body. Experience a whole education. Conduct research. Surround yourself with distinction. Surround yourself with UW-La Crosse.
Welcome back to Sports Talk Live. We're going to head into one of my favorite segments on our show, Buy or Sell. So I'm going to give these guys a topic. We're going to discuss whether they should buy it, if they're into it, or sell it, they're over it. So our first topic is one of my favorites, the Milwaukee Bucks. Should we buy or sell this new team, new era thing? Or are we tossing it out, guys?
Sell the Milwaukee Bucks.
Okay.
Sell them out of Milwaukee. Sell everything you've got. The Bucks do not belong in the NBA. I'm sorry, but it's just a shame. It's a shame to Wisconsin, and I don't buy into the whole Jason Kidd thing, and he's going to turn the franchise around, new ownership, new arena. I just don't buy into it at all.
Oh, I am buying hard into this team right now. Actually, not right now. I'm buying into the future more so. There's a lot of things that are going to be happening with this team. They're locking down a deal to get the old Journal Sentinel building, build a new arena there. That's going to be happening. These owners are very proactive in trying to make this team relevant and get them on the up and up in this league. So I have very good faith. They got a very young team, if you didn't happen to notice as well. Jabari Parker, fantastic basketball player, 10-8 right now out of 4 games, whatever it is. Brandon Knight's going to play a good basketball. Chris Middleton's a good shooter. You have Larry Sanders, who hopefully can play the whole season and is a very good defensive player. And then they have great cast. I mean, I think they're eventually going to have to make a trade somewhere down the road because they have so many forwards on this team. But
I'm going to have to agree with you. I'm going to buy the fact of what the owners are doing and what they're doing for the city of Milwaukee themselves. They are really planning on doing some great things to uplift the downtown area and build this new arena that's going to really benefit Milwaukee itself. But the team, I'm selling the team. I haven't been around a successful basketball team my whole life with Milwaukee, so it's something hard for me to buy onto. But there's hope. They've definitely brought hope into the air of that city, and I think there's a lot of people that are buying into the Bucks.
Yeah, the home opener sold out this past Friday. I mean, I was down in Milwaukee, and the whole city was all Bucks flags all over the place. People were talking about it. It was weird to see.
And
that's
it doesn't
what it was.
happen.
It doesn't happen. That's what it is. It's just weird to see. So.
All right. So we're split on the buy or sell. So we're going to move on to the next topic. We're moving into basketball season now. We're looking at the Badgers. Are we buying or selling their success this season? Are they going to be able to carry over what they did last season into the season?
I'm buying by default just because of how mediocre the Big Ten may be this year, actually. The only thing that there may be just some surprises from, because a lot of these teams lost their big players from other teams in the Big Ten. So I think that it depends on how, the underclassmen do, freshmen do, and these other teams in the Big Ten. So that by that default, yes, the Badger basketball team should do very good, I think.
I'm also going to buy into the Badgers this year, mainly for the fact that they didn't really lose any key players. They got Frank the Tank coming back, they have Decker, Trayvon Jackson, and a lot of younger guys. That experience right there is something in itself. To be able to go to the Final Four, they got the jitters out now. They're ready to just play their basketball like they always do, nice, slow, boring Wisconsin basketball, and make their way into the bracket, into the tournament.
I have a little bit of a mixed feeling on this. I'm buying into that they're going to be good. They're going to be very good. They're probably going to win the Big Ten and make a tournament run, but I am not buying into a repeat. I don't think that they're going to make it to the Final Four again. I kind of feel like that was a one-time thing, and it was awesome last year, and it'd be awesome to see it again, but I just don't think it's going to happen again this year. But they do have a very outstanding front court and back court, and Frank is, if he can play like he did again in the
That's the next
tournament,
question.
that was...
Do you buy into Frank again? Was that a one-time thing, or is he going to be able to
That was
produce
one time.
like he did?
He's gonna do great in the Big Ten though, but once the tournament comes, I think it might be a little rough from. And if they face that Kentucky team again, they're gonna get killed, I think, because they're returning everybody, and that team's really good.
I'm looking for Sam Decker to step up, and
Yeah.
I really want to see what he can bring.
Yeah,
So.
that's a good point.
Very nice, very nice. All right, moving on now, we're going to look at some Wisconsin head coaches here coming back into play. Yesterday, Mike McCarthy got signed to his extension, and earlier this month, or last month I should say, the Brewers decided that they were going to return Ron Renicky for the 2015 season. Do we buy or sell these coaches coming back to Wisconsin? It's a beautiful picture of Ron, by the way.
Yeah, Ron is a good-looking man.
What a
I'll
charmer.
start with Ron. Although he is good-looking, I'll have to say I'm not buying into that at all. I mean, your team just completely destroyed the second half of the season. I don't think that they should have brought him back. I mean, management has faith in him, so be it, but I don't think that it's there. There's no way you should. What did they have?
They were
12-game lead, something like that in their division, and they blew it away. That falls back on the manager. Although their team was not performing, it's a manager's job to get them going.
See, the thing is that I feel like sometimes we live like in this culture now where we always blame it on the managers as well, which I understand though that he should have had more to do with it, I think. But the players fell apart, though, I felt like. The consistency was just not there. I mean, there was a lot of places you had to look at. I mean, thankfully they got a new first baseman. I mean, the pitching, just consistency with this team overall is what it is, I feel like.
They have a lot of youth in their pitching, so that's hopeful that, you got to get that mental aspect out of there. One thing I was excited to see was that they fired their hitting coach. That was my issue. Like, they could not hit a baseball like they've never played before. They're in Major League Baseball, learn how to swing a bat.
Exactly.
The idea of Ron Renicky coming back, I'm going to agree with you on that. He's been a pretty successful coach for the Brewers when you look at it in a general scheme of things. But as a skipper, I agree with you. You should be able to, that's your team. You should be able to rally them somehow and get their mentality back on track. You were a first-place team, and now you're not even in the playoffs. As for McCarthy, I am, of course, all about that team. He's done nothing but good things for the Packers and brought nothing but success to their program.
I agree, yeah. The only thing is that just how the playoffs have been going the past few years. I think Don Capers needs to go, though.
We might
time for that.
He's on the chopping block, I believe. So, this is just another edition of Sports Talk Live here in the WMCM studios. We just want to give a little plug to one of our events happening this weekend. The Chili Cook-Off is happening this Saturday, am I correct?
Yes.
We've got a bunch of different organizations around campus trying their recipes to see if they can be the Chili Cook-Off champions. So join us at 5:30 at the Eagles Nest on Saturday. Once again, thank you for joining us, and have a great day.